All right, hey everyone, how are you guys doing? It's Wednesday, so we got a lot to cover today. We have obviously Bitcoin going up, which is nice. We have the miners going up for the most part, which is also nice. And then we got some stories. We have a story on Riot buying now 12% of the company in Bitfarms. We also have a short report on Riot as well, and we'll take a look at that as well. Then we have what do we have here? We got Cipher. No, Cipher is reporting an updated growth plan for this year, which is great. We'll take a look at that. We also have Bit Digital, Core Scientific, and Marathon reporting their May production updates. Okay, so we got a lot to go through here today. So we'll get through it as fast as we can here, and we'll get through everything. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And then I'm not paid by any of the Bitcoin mining companies. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the Bitcoin charts really quick here, and we'll go through this somewhat fast here. So total hash rate right now, it's kind of flattened out here. It looks like it's about 587 exahash on the 7-day average. On the 30-day average, it is still right around 599, so right around 600 exahash as it is. Then Bitcoin transaction fees per day are coming up here again. We are now at 56 Bitcoins per day, which is nice, right? So that's coming up here, and we're kind of averaging above the 40s. Before we were in the 20s, so this is definitely a big help for the miners here. And then the hash price index is way up here. It's way up to now about $60 per day per petahash, which is nice also. Before we were in the 50s as well. So this increasing with Bitcoin price going up as well, that's helping things out. Transaction fees going up as well. That's helping the hash price as well. So there's a lot of things that are happening that are good for the Bitcoin miners. Okay. Now looking at the price action of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was up today. It was up nicer in the morning hours and it kind of pulled back a little bit, but it was up nonetheless. It was up 0.82% on the day. It closed at 71,121.11 cents. So that is looking pretty good there. We may continue to go up here. We may have to battle with this previous high that we had here, which was at 73,835 before we can possibly go up a little bit more. Okay, but that's Bitcoin there. And then the miners, for the most part, were in the green. There were a couple that were in the red. BitDeer was in the red. DigiHost was in the red, and Riot was in the red again today. Some miners that did pretty good today. Wolf was up 11% on the day. So they had a nice 2-day rally here so far. And then who else did pretty good here? We had Mawson up being up 5%, Hut 8 being up 5% as well. Cores was up almost 5%, 4.69%. So that continued to go up in value. Cipher was up almost 5% as well. Bitfarms was up 4%, and that's possibly because Riot has been buying them for the last couple of days. We'll get into that story here shortly. And then who else did pretty good? That's about it. Everybody else was kind of like 2%, 1%, and right around there. Okay, so let's get into the stories that we do have here, which is going to be the first one is going to be on Riot. So Riot reports beneficial ownership of 12% in Bitfarms, right? They've been buying it, so it looks like they're still kind of stubborn about it. They still want to buy Riot, even though Riot does not want to be bought out, or Bitfarms doesn't want to be bought out. Currently, if you guys had a chance to watch the interview with Ben Gagnon on Bryce and Anthony, a podcast or show or TV series channel, definitely worth a watch there and a listen. Ben is great, and Ben has even stated that the offer was too low. They believe the company is valued much, much more from where it is right now, and I agree with him. So we'll see how they can battle this against Riot going forward. But you can see that they've been acquiring shares for the last couple of days as well. So they are increasing their stake there. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they get to like 20%, if they get there, and if their intentions change over time or not. But the only thing that might save Bitfarms is the price of Bitfarms stock itself going up much higher than where it is right now. At that point, I think that maybe they'll put a pause on buying more shares. Okay. But as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of this. I would much rather prefer that Bitfarms operated on its own, as an own entity. They have great growth plans going forward, right, to 21 exahash this year. They're supposed to get to 12 exahash by June. They got to 9.5, but it's not all energized yet. We're supposed to get that energized in June here. And then they're supposed to get to 12, like I said before, and then 21 by the end of the year. So a lot of growth there, and I think the stock right now is just undervalued more so than any other miners right now, because Iron has had a nice run up here recently. Cores has had a nice run up as well. I think those two are still undervalued from where they should be, but now it looks like Bitfarms might be the one that's the most undervalued potentially. Okay, based on what I'm seeing here. So on topic of Riot here, let's take a look at the, I'm just not even going to dive into it. You guys are more than welcome to read this, but Riot Platforms has been targeted by Kerrisdale Capital's short sell report. They had a tweet or a post on X about it. You guys can follow that over there as well. Read that, and you can read that here about all the things that they see wrong with Riot and the general Bitcoin mining industry in general, as far as the issues there about the high dilution, all that stuff, the high compensation, all that stuff. So we'll see how this affects Riot stock, right? And if Riot stock continues to go down, what happens then? Could Riot possibly be a takeover bid for somebody else, potentially like CoreWeave or potentially even Marathon, going in, hey, we can buy this company out, get a bunch of infrastructure there as well at a pretty depressed price right now from where it was trading before. So could that put them on possibly the target list of companies that might be acquired? We'll have to see how far the Riot stock price goes down based on this. But it didn't have much of an impact. I mean, the stock was down a little bit here today. It was down 0.21%, so not that bad. But it fell even further here. It was down to, what did it go down today? It was down to a low of $8.81 before it kind of bounced back up a little bit. So that is interesting to watch there. So maybe it has finally bottomed out here, right there at that red line potentially. And it has bounced, but we'll see going forward what happens there. All right, next one here, let's get into Cipher. Cipher announces updated growth plans here. So Cipher Mining announces significant upgrades to its mining fleet and increases target hash rate and fleet efficiency for 2024 and 2025. So this is great news, I believe. I know this is great news, right? This is something that investors are obviously looking for. And then here's what they are stating here. So new 2024 year-end self-mining hash rate target of 13.5 exahash with fleet efficiency of 18.6 joules per terahash. That's actually really good. That's that might be like one of the best right now that I'm tracking here for the end of the year for some of these guys here. New 2025 year-end self-mining hash rate target of 35 exahash with fleet efficiency of 15 joules per terahash. That would definitely make him one of the most efficient miners there. They haven't provided any information as far as what they're going to be buying to get to that, but they do have some purchases that they've did. The upgraded rigs to S21 Pro and accelerated delivery to Q4 2024 are existing Bitmain contracts. We'll take a look at that as well. And then they executed an additional purchase of 1.25 exahash of latest generation Canaan A1566 miners with option to purchase an additional 160 megawatts of future generation miners in 2025. That might be what gets them to the 35 exahash potentially. I'm not sure. I would have to run the numbers on it, what that would translate as far as what the miners are operating on these. I wish they would have provided a little bit more information on it. As how many miners are they looking to get exahash from the purchase here of the Canaan A1566 miners. Okay, so this is great news there. And let's take a look at Cipher really quick here on that one. So based on the information that they provided, they're going to be upgrading their fleet here. It looks like all of these miners that I have in red here, there's a lot of the 100 terahash miners, the 88 terahash miners as well. Those are probably going to be the ones that are going to be taken out and swapped out for the latest generation miners, which are the Antminer S21 now. So I have those at 234 terahash per miner. And it looks like they had an order for, what was it for? Like 37,396 or something like that, which would get them to, right now, 14 point, I need to include the other ones as well. But let's see, right? Do I have that right? 14? Oh, that's with the JVs. Down here, 13.537 is where I have them at, which is what they're reporting at 13.5, right? That they're going to get to by the end of the year, along with the cannons that they bought now. And then I'd like to know how many cannons they're buying into 2025. I think that would be beneficial there. So maybe we'll find that out in due time. But that's basically what's going to be happening here in the next year. These miners up here are going to be going away. They'll probably be selling these, I'm guessing, maybe at a better price where they are right now if Bitcoin starts going up much higher. But that kind of gets us to there, and it also coincides with about the 18 joules per terahash, which I have here about 17.93. So I may have some lower numbers on their wattage here for the machines than what they're actually operating at. Okay, these are based on the manufacturer specifications and things like that. Okay, so that's all cleared up there. And then also, while we finish up on Cipher, but like I said, this is great news, right? We wanted growth. The growth is great here. It's not as large of a growth that we're seeing like from Bitfarms, Riot, CleanSpark, Marathon, Iron as well, but it is growth nonetheless. And then going forward into next year, will be definitely good, sizable growth there as well. Okay, the other correction I wanted to make here was Bitfarms. When I reported Bitfarms on Monday, the institutions were much, much lower. And that is the case because I believe the app that I use, Webull, had a mistake in there or an error, right? They were showing that a lot of the miners that I cover here, their shares were being, like, a lot of them were being sold or institutions were selling out of them. So I think that was a mistake on their end. It looks like it's been corrected here now. So the actual number is 189 now institutions in Bitfarms as of 6. Well, this should be as of 6/5. Let me fix that. Or maybe not. We'll just leave it as 89 million shares, 22.99% owned by institutions. Ratings still stay the same, though. Nothing changed on that side of things for price targets. Okay, so there's a little correction there. Let's get into our next story here, which is going to be on the May updates. So BitDigital Inc. announces monthly production update for May. And here's what we have. So the company earned $4.2 million from its basically HPC side of the business, AI, right, which is their average, what they're going to be generating each month. And then they generated 63.3 BTC. That's a 40% decrease from the prior month. And that's kind of what we're seeing across the board, more or less, with all these miners, about 44, 46, 47% decrease in mining revenue or Bitcoin generated at that point for the month of May. And that's with the full impact of the halving event having happened. Okay. The company's active hash rate was approximately 2.54 exahash. I wish they would have actually provided the actual hash rate that's installed, not the average. I don't like the averages when they report those. The decrease from the prior month was driven by voluntary curtailment activity. Okay, so they did that. And then their holdings of BTC was 1,038. Ethereum was 20,508. So it's valued approximately 70 million in BTC and about 77 million in Ethereum right now. Let's see if we have anything else here. I think that's it for them. So let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them on my spreadsheet, and we'll get into the other ones as well. So BitDigital has about 121 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price $2.81 as of today. Market cap 340 million. The performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. Like, we haven't seen great performance from a lot of the miners anyways in the last 12 weeks. But they're down 19% from 12 weeks ago. They're up 3.8 from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 15.3. And then last week, they were down 1.59%. Current hash rate, what I have for them is 2.7 exahash right now. They're pretty much fully installed as it is. Their HODL is 71 million, like we talked about, and that's approximately 21% of their market cap right now, that value. Their Bitcoin monthly production here has been coming down. Huge decrease here in May. That is a given because of the halving event that's happened there. So we're seeing that across the board for all the miners as well. Revenue down quite substantially as well, 4.13 million here for the month of May. Their best month was in March, 9.23 million. And their BTC HODL has continued to increase here, which is nice to see as well. Going at the hash rate has pretty much stayed flat for the last couple months here, around 2.7 exahash roughly. And then BTC sold, you can see how much they sold here in the month, only 17 BTC. BTC per exahash efficiency about 22.93, pretty efficient there. Bitcoin sold value, how much they sold. And then going down here, as always, to our institutions. Institutions did decrease here a little bit to 166 for them, but the shares actually went up to 50.7 million. So that's a slight increase there, but the percentage went down to 42.19. I'm guessing that that is based on share dilution. We still have one strong buy rating, 3 buy ratings, and then price target stayed the same at $6 for the high, $5.08 for the average, and $4.50 for the low. So that's all the same there as far as their operations side of things for May. If we look at them, I gave them $265,000 in Bitcoin transaction fees on average, and they operated for about 29.15 days out of the month here. So pretty efficient, right? Pretty close to being 100% uptime almost. They did state that they curtailed a little bit, but based on what I'm able to figure out, it looks like they curtailed very little on it. Okay, based on where they are right now, last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, based on those numbers, I have them between $4.07 to $6.10. They're at $2.81. I do think that they are way undervalued from where they really should be. But that is largely due to their lack of current growth in Bitcoin mining, I think. And they're just not being valued on the AI business, which brings in about $50 million a year right now. Okay. But that is it. The big thing with them is they need to grow their hash rate this year. They're saying that they're going to get to about 6 exahash. We haven't seen any news from them on that as far as what they're going to be buying or anything like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. What do they do? Where do they plug those in and everything else? And the other thing is they don't own any infrastructure. So maybe that's why they're being valued a little bit less potentially as well. All right. So that's it for BitDigital. Let's get into our next one here. which is going to be on Core Scientific. So Core Scientific announces May 2024 production and operation update. And here's what we have for them. We got a couple quotes. We continue to execute well in our strong Bitcoin mining business while also leveraging our valuable portfolio of high-power digital infrastructure to expand our hosting business, as demonstrated by our recent announcement of new long-term hosting contract for 200 megawatts of HPC infrastructure with CoreWeave, the AI hyperscaler, said Adam Sullivan, Core Scientific's chief executive officer. These contracts represent one of the largest AI hosting agreements to date, and they will strengthen our earnings power with an estimated $3.5 billion in cumulative revenue over their 12-year terms. Right, so this is what actually made me buy the stock. When was it? Yesterday? The day before? Can't remember. Yesterday. Bought the stock yesterday, because this pushed them over the line where I thought things are going to definitely go much better for them going forward, and put them on a much better footing as well. So that's why I got into it. And then they've been also largely way undervalued for where they really should be. They still are, based on just their operations right now. Continue on here. Our discussions with potential clients to modify an additional 300 megawatts of high power infrastructure for HPC hosting continue. So that's actually pretty interesting that they would offer another 300 megawatts on top of that. So, I mean, if you figure they're making $3.5 billion for 200 megawatts, I mean, what is it going to be, like $4.5 billion for the 300 megawatts potentially? Somewhere around there. Representing an even greater source of revenue by capitalizing on our strong market demand. Supported by powerful industry tailwinds across AI compute, we are excited about the meaningful opportunities ahead to maximize the value of our digital infrastructure portfolio to deliver on our business objectives and create substantial shareholder value, said Mr. Sullivan. So, I mean, Adam has been a rock star there. He's done a great job turning the company around after Chapter 11 bankruptcy, getting him out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. He's doing a fantastic job there, based on what we're seeing here, just on the reports and everything else. Okay, going into their production here for mining. So they self-mined 447 Bitcoin for the month. Hosting added another 128 on top of it. They are currently at 20.4 exahash energized hash rate. That's the same that they had last month. They sold 453 Bitcoin, which is less than the total combined, so I'm not sure what's happening there. I wonder if that's their portion that they're getting out of the Bitcoin earned by customers, and the rest is going to the customers there maybe, because they don't report a HODL position, so I think that's what's happening in there. Anything else in here? That is it. No, that's it. So let's get into cores here on my spreadsheet, see where we're at right now. Currently, they have 177 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $7.15. Their market cap is about $1.27 billion right now. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually really good compared to some of the other miners. They're up 27% from 12 weeks ago. They're 40% up from 8 weeks ago, 30.5% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were down just 1.45%. So I think their performance here has been really, really good, or solid at least, in the last 12 weeks. Their current hash rate, 20.4 exahash, future hash rate, 20.4, right? We know that they do have the option to change out some of the older machines that they have at the facilities to potentially increase that by an additional 10 exahash if they just swapped out those machines there, or a portion of those machines. But you need capital to do that. We'll see if they can get the capital to do that, though. Okay. Bitcoin production here, down to 447. We saw that was a decrease of 356 from the prior month. Revenue is down to 29.14 million. Not quite half of what it was in April. Still a little bit above half on that one. So that's looking pretty good there. Hash rate, like I said, was the same as for the prior month. They're at 20.4 right now. But we have seen a nice increase in that over the last 12 months, basically starting in November of last year. We've had a nice uptick here, about approximately, 5.2 exahash installed in, 6 months or so. BTC sold, that's how much they sold. BTC per exahash efficiency, 21.91. And then how much they sold in value of Bitcoin. And then going down here to institutions increased crazily here. So as of the latest data, as of today, 129 institutions. That's a huge increase that we have for them based on the 47 that they had the prior month. So a lot of institutions have been getting into them. That's now 76.98 million shares. Percentage owned by institutions, 40.54. Institutions, looks like, have been driving the stock up here in the last month at least. We now have 2 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating. Price targets are still $8.50 for the high. The average went up to $5.50, and the low is still at 50 cents right now on it. Okay, so that's great news there. As far as operations are concerned here, like I said, they are fully installed here. I added, okay, I should have probably added more 187,000 should have been more than that because yeah, I made a mistake there. I will fix that, which will then decrease their efficiency here. Okay, so I will get this fixed, but because I have it at 29.57, it should have been 1.87 million on it in revenue, which got us to 29.14. So I just noticed that I made a mistake here. Yeah, 29.14. So I need to fix that. It should have been 1.87 million in transaction fees being added to it. That would have brought their operations down to, I don't know where, but probably a couple, well, let's just put in another zero in here. Let's see what we get. It was 29,140,000 for the revenue, 29. So let's see if we get down to like 29 days. Where does that take us? 30, right? What do they have? 29.14. Let's go down to 28 days, roughly. What does that take us down to? 29. That's pretty close. So about 28 days or so, give or take. Probably like 27.9 days. 184. 29,185. 140. 140. So we're pretty close there. Okay. I will fix this and before I upload this to the Patreon members. But that's kind of where we are at right now. Based on this and everything else, I still have them a much higher rating or much higher price targets than where they are right now. This is based on the last 3 quarters, current quarter, which is estimated right now, right? We're using a P of 15 on them. And that's only because they don't have a lot of growth left in well, they're self-mining, but the AI side of the business is going to be booming. So I need to figure out a way to also include that in there going forward. But right now I'm between $19.32 to $28.98. Even if you take into the account that they're going to be diluting shares when the warrants exercise, if we have double the shares that we have now, you could, divide that by 2 and you get basically between $9 and what is that going to be? $9 and $19 roughly, right? Somewhere in between there, I would think they would be fairly valued. So they are still way undervalued from where they really should be, but they are gaining on that fair valuation if the warrants get exercised and you get the dilution happening at that point. Okay. Other than that, I mean, this company is going to be so much bigger and better going forward with obviously the AI business that they have now for the 3.5 billion over the next 12 years. They're working on possibly the additional 300 megawatts. They can change that over into HPC side of the business as well. That could be huge revenue for them going forward. And then if they can just continue to either upgrade their machines here, get it to 30 exahash or 40 exahash potentially, that would be huge here as well. So I see nothing but good things for Core Scientific going forward right now. But let me know what you guys think, obviously. Okay, so that's it for Core. And let's get into the last one here. We have Marathon, and we'll get into the Q&A side of things. Let me clear my throat here, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for May 2024. Couple comments here, some management commentary. I thought this was a pretty good comment here. The strength of our Mara pool was evident in May as we achieved a noteworthy 32% increase in the number of blocks won compared to April, growing from 129 blocks to 170, said Fred Thiel, Marathon's chairman and CEO. At the same time, our share of available miner awards grew from 3.2% to 4.2% in May. In May, we mitigated the impact of the April halving event by increasing the number of blocks won, resulting in the production of 616 Bitcoin, a decline of only 27%. Yes. But the reason because of that, the mitigation of the impact was mainly because they were operating like 60-70% uptime in the last 4 months or so. So them actually fixing the issues that they had there has helped them here, and that's the reason why. It's not that they grew hash rate or anything else. It's just that they fixed the hash rate that they had issues with. So it's a nice spin on, a nice way to spin it, I guess you could say, making it look a little bit better than what it really was. Okay, domestically, our Ellendale facility operational improvements are yielding positive results, so they go about it here. And our team continues to optimize our recently acquired sites with immersion cooling technology and the latest generation hardware. So that's great there. With these advancements and expansion of our fleet, we remain on track to reach our 50 exahash by the end of the year target. So that is really, really good there. All right. Going down here into their numbers here. So 616 BTC mined is a total of their JVs, their self-mining as well. Okay, number of blocks won. This is from their Mara pool, 170. This is what I go by because the other blocks or the other coins don't get reported as revenue. Unless they own more than 50% of the or the JVs there. And then let's go down here. Installed hash rate 30.6. So that did increase here from, let me see here if that's the same. No, we don't have 2024 numbers, 430, 29.9. Yeah, so they did increase the hash rate there a little bit here in May as well. Okay. Going down here, we can see the actual exahashes installed at each facility. So at Granbury, we had a slight decrease to 33.9 exahash, Garden City to 5.4, and then we had an increase here at 2.3 at Kearney from 1.9. McCamey stayed the same at 7.6. Ellendale increased to 7.7. Jamestown stayed the same at 1.4, and all others, which I believe are their joint ventures, are at 2.3. So total 30.6 exahash, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I think that is it for it here. Yeah. So let's take a look at my spreadsheet for them, and we'll go through all the numbers for them as well. Let me zoom this in for you guys also. So there we go. Currently, Marathon has about 272 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $21. Market cap, $5.7 billion. They are the largest miner here right now. The performance over the last 12 weeks has not been that good. They're down 27% from 12 weeks ago, down 6.5% from 8 weeks ago. They're up 13% from 4 weeks ago, and they're down about 8% from last week alone. Current hash rate, this is for their self-mining only, 28.5 or 28.6 roughly is what I estimate. It's kind of tough. They don't break the stuff out into JVs and their self-mining and all that stuff, which makes it a little difficult. So I'm kind of guesstimating on this as best as I can. Future hash rate 50 exahash, hash rate left 21.4 exahash. Right, so that's all good there. Current HODL 17,857 Bitcoin. That's valued at about 1.2 billion. Their HODL to market cap is about 21.33%. So pretty good there. And then looking at their production here with you can see the difference that they had here from December where they mined about 1,800 BTC. They're down to about half of that, a little bit less than half. In January, right, that's when they started having issues with their facilities. I think it was 2 of their facilities, and they were able to not really remedy that in any short order, except it took them about 4 months or so. And it looks like they possibly have fixed that here in May, which is good, right? We wanted them to get that repaired and increase their uptime as best as possible, and it looks like they're getting there. So that's good news there. So they did have a less of a decrease in the Bitcoin mine, and that was impacted by the energization of the fixed or not fixed infrastructure. Well, yeah, the fixed infrastructure at those 2 facilities potentially. Okay, so that's the reason for that. Going down here, revenue 37 million here, which is really good also. A much lower decrease from the prior month as other miners have seen right now. BTC HODL has continued to increase here. Hash rate difference increase again, so that's good to see there to 28.6 exahash roughly for self-mining. Bitcoin sold, they only sold about 390 Bitcoin here recently, so not a lot. Their average for the last 12 months is about 605. Then their BTC per exahash efficiency about 19.89, still pretty low there. It's not as great as some of the other miners that we've seen here. Bitcoin sold value, and then going down here to institution side of things, institutions did increase to 451. Now they own 117 million shares, 41.75% of the company. We still have 2 strong buy ratings for them, 2 buy ratings, 5 hold ratings, 1 underperform rating, and price targets actually went down for them to $27 for the high from 35. Average went down to 23.56 from 25.81, and the low went down to $18 from $19 on it. So I think that's contributable to the poor performance that they had over the last 3 to 4 months. I think that's kind of what drove them, maybe the decline in price targets here for them. Okay, as far as machines running and operating here, these are unknown. I don't know what these machines are going to be. I'm guessing these are going to be the Auradine machines. I don't know the specifics on it. They are very hush about that information right now, which is unfortunate. So I'm guessing here, not sure exactly what's going to be for that. And then we're going down into May here. In May, I had them operating at 25.46 days. The new machines that got installed were operating for about 20 days. And that got us to the 30.9 exahash installed here, combined with the JV and their self-mining as well. Okay. And that got us to 37 million here in revenue for their self-mining. And then total was about 40 million here with the JVs. So going up here, looking at the figures for them for the last 3 quarters, current quarter that we're in, P of 20, right? They have really good growth going forward. I'm in between $18.33 to $27.50. They're at $21 right now. I think they're slightly well valued right now, but I think still a little bit undervalued from where they probably really should be. And I think that will improve as their efficiencies improve as well. Uptime improves. If they can do that, I think at that point the stock will do much better. And then if Bitcoin continues to rip going forward, they should do really well in this market as well. I still see potentially a 5x for them as well from where they are right now. But it's all given on where Bitcoin goes. Okay, so that's it for Marathon. And yeah, we'll call it a day here. We'll get into the Q&A side of things here next. But as always, my sales pitch here to you guys. Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets, and I will update the, which one was it? Gosh, Core Scientific. I got to update the Core Scientific numbers for them. The days, I will get that done for you guys, and that's $8 a month. It's 10% off if you pay for the annual subscription, and there might be a couple spots open at $5 and $4 tiers as well. Plus, you get access to the private server for Discord for us there. Okay, that is it. That's my sales pitch. But yeah, let's get into the Q&A side of things. Q&A is delayed by about 15 seconds or something like that from when I read you guys and when you type it in and when I actually read it. So be patient there. I will get through all your guys' questions. I'm going to go over to my screen here that has all the questions. And let's see what you guys have here. Let's see. Dear Sebastian, now a lot of people are saying that many of the miners are owned by others. In such conditions, isn't it good to have a little and as such miner who is owned by shareholders only? Well, you're always going to have institutions in there. At least we're having more and more institutions now than we have in the past on it. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But it's obviously, or at least to me, it's a little concerning when Riot is like buying up all these shares and Bitfarms is kind of like doing a hostile takeover over them, unfortunately. I don't really like that. You should go in there, give an offer. If the offer is refused, you should pack your bags and go home. Let's see. BTC miners are flying. How am I supposed to buy, Sebastian? I'm not for sale. Maybe, who knows? Maybe one of these days. Maybe I'll start a Bitcoin mining company of my own. That would be, yeah, I don't know if I want to take that endeavor again. What stock symbol is WTF? So WTF is what the freak? I don't know what the stock symbol is for that. Is that really necessary? It gets a point of emotion across, right? Frustration and things like that. Hank is late again. No worries. Sadie, yep, thank you. Hit the likes, guys. It helps me out tremendously if you can do that. Let's see. Is Cores still a good buy? Should I wait until post ATM? They don't have an ATM right now. I don't think they can get an ATM until a year out after bankruptcy, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case on it. So they don't have an ATM. The only thing that they do have as far as dilution is concerned is the warrants. The warrants, when they are exercised, they will turn into shares at that point. So that's going to be the dilution that we're seeing there. But I do believe even if the dilution happens, that they are still way undervalued from where they probably should be. Let's see. Is Riot a good buy at these prices? I think it's coming down to a point where it's kind of bottoming out, maybe. Based on the charts that I'm seeing, it's kind of bounced off that support there a little bit today. So it might be getting close to a bottom if it hasn't already bottomed out. And then let's see, what is the chances we see a $10,000 move in one day after we break this bull flag? I mean, the chances are always there for it. 10%, what would that be as far as percentage increase? 10% would be 7,000. So we're looking at what, 12 to like 13% increase in one day? Yeah, that could happen. We've seen those before. Let's see here. Hank, I missed the beginning of the show. What's your take on Riot? Are they posturing, or is this a viable takeover attempt? I mean, right now, based on what we're seeing with them continuing to buy the shares, it seems like they really want to buy Bitfarms. But Bitfarms does not want to be bought. So it's going to be a battle between those two companies to see how many shares Riot can buy, and then how can Bitfarms possibly stop them from doing it, whether it's a poison pill or something like that. I don't know, but I would like for them to stay as a separate company. But what I like doesn't always matter in these things. Question, Seb, what are your plans for your profits post-bull market? Also, what am I going to do with the profits after that point? Well, I'm going to have to pay Uncle Sam a sizable chunk, unfortunately. Hopefully, a lot of the stuff that I do own is going to be long-term investments. So that should mitigate some of the costs, but it's still going to be a lot. So I got to pay that, and then I'm going to pay off my school debt. I'm going to pay off the remodeling that we're doing in the kitchen right now this summer. So that's kind of on the plan there. And then after that, I have to really think about as far as what I want to get into. And then do we have a bear market after that, right? What if Bitcoin just continues to go up slower but longer, higher? Right? We got to take that into consideration as well with the spot Bitcoin ETFs now. So I'll either get into Bitcoin at that point, maybe. We'll have to see. Or I'll get into maybe a little bit of real estate as well. I don't know. We'll have to see. See, I sold all my Wolf today for 40% upside. Nice. I think Wolf is still way undervalued, but the only thing that's keeping him down right now is the growth this year. Yeah. Mark says Bitfarms will outsmart Riot. I hope they do. That would make me happy camper. I'm here for the thumbs up button. Thank you. You worried about the Riot takeover? Over what's the prospects of a successful takeover at the ATP? Guys over on Spaces worrying me. They won't stop yapping about the Riot buyout being successful. Yeah, I mean, at that point, I believe from what I've understood and what I've heard from others is that we would get shares in the company of Riot, and then a portion of it would be, I don't know if a portion of it would be shares or a portion of it would be in cash as well. But I think we would get some shares in Riot as well because of it. Yeah, I don't know how successful this is going to be. It's a little worrisome that they're buying more and more shares of the company. So I wish people would start buying Bitfarms if they believe in the company to exist on their own. At that point, if Bitfarms goes to $4, $5, something like that, it might make it harder for Riot to acquire them at that point because the cost associated with it is going to be so much greater. But who knows? I think the short report on Riot will bring more capital to the miner sector. I don't think so. I mean, that short report on Riot was a hit piece, basically. There are some truths to it in the mining sector with, the compensation being kind of high, dilution. Yes, there's dilution there, but as long as it's accretive, I think that's okay, right? If you're diluting 100 million shares or $100 million in shares and you're getting, 200 million in value or something like that, then I think it's okay. Let's see. As a Riot holder, I can tell you it doesn't take a lot to outsmart Riot. You got to remember that Jason there is a poker player, a professional poker player. So, he might be playing some 5D chess on us or something like that. Who knows what their plan is? What are your thoughts on a pullback here in the next day or two? I think it would be healthy if it happens. Right? We can't continue to go up for extended amount of time. We can. It does happen. But eventually we need a little bit of pullback. So a slight pullback, I'd be happy with it. Not a big drop, though. If you have cash, what miner do you want to buy now? I would like to buy some more iron, and I would like to buy some more cores and Bitfarms as well. I think Bitfarms is still way undervalued from where they probably should be. Yes, I think you meant post warrants. Yes, that's what I mean as far as dilution there. Would you buy Cipher now? The growth this year is still not that great, and I don't know exactly when the 35x hash would happen next year. So currently, probably not because of that. But they have really good cost of electricity. I mean, it's a tough one there. I wish they would have more growth this year, but I know that they're building out their Black Pearl site, and that's going to take time, and that's probably not going to happen until 2025. That's why they are kind of changing out the machines right now, right? They can't get the growth that way, but they're going to at least get some growth through swapping out machines and improve their efficiencies as well, which I think is great. Would you consider buying Riot to save in case of a successful Bitfarms buyout? Jeez. I need to see more of their data on Corsicana, right? For May, they reported operating average of, what was it, like 1.4 exahash out of that facility right now. So I need to see like another month of June to see how they are doing there. If their uptime has increased a lot, if it has increased, then it's a lot better than what it has been in the past. At that point, maybe, but they got to fix their operations there at Rockdale and make sure that they have good operations at Corsicana as well. They said looks like Riot owns around 12% stock. If Riot will buy 15% more than still, Seb will hold Bitfarms. If what month you will say buy for Bitfarms? Oh, geez, yeah, I don't know. I gotta talk to some people about that. What happens if they get to like 20% at that point, right? Do they get to kick everybody off the board potentially and put in their own board? I don't know. I have to do some more research on that, but I'm sticking through it as long as I can. What do you think of the Riot short seller report? Like I said, I think there's some truth to it, and I think there's also some exaggerations there, and they're kind of blanketing the whole industry with that report a little bit there as well. Which there are, like I said, there are some truths, but there are some other things that I disagree with in that report. So it's more or less a hit piece. Question: what is the target for IREN versus CleanSpark exahash for 2024? Target for IREN is 30 exahash. CleanSpark is 32, but CleanSpark has miners purchased to get to 50 exahash that are delivering this year. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get to 50 exahash, but it would be nice if they do that, especially since the miners are coming in this year, or at least they're scheduled to deliver, unless they change those schedules. Let's see. Who are you going to rotate to out of Bitfarms? So if I was going to rotate out of Bitfarms, I'd probably spread the cash around evenly there. I get into some more CleanSpark, IREN, and then cores as well. Probably spread it out that way. Which miners have the most upcoming immersion rigs ready for this cycle? Oh, I think that is was the MicroBT has, I think, the better ones there, or at least the higher hash rate machines there for immersion cooling. I would have to look into it. I'm not sure exactly. I saw Marathon mint around 600 Bitcoin this month, but their holdings just increased by 200. Does this mean that they sold their BTC? Yeah, they sold it. They've been selling it for the last couple of months. If we look at their numbers, where's my spreadsheet? There it is, Marathon. They've been selling here. They sold in March 443, April 600 BTC, and then May they sold 390 BTC right now. Question: if you bought right at 16, would you cut your losses and reinvest in a faster horse? Good question. Big challenge there, like I said before, is their operations. Can they improve those at Rockdale? And then can they have consistent uptime at Corsicana? And can they obviously grow? So if they can do those three things, really, the stock should be valued much higher going forward, especially if Bitcoin starts to rip up higher as well. So I believe they should be valued much higher from where they are right now, if they can fix those things. But that's up to you as far as if you want to pick a different horse on that side of things. Let's see. Bitfarms needs 12 exahash in June, and they need a CEO announcement soon. Get the share price up. That will make it harder for Riot to succeed. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. That should help tremendously. But then the question that also comes into mind is, if you're a potential CEO, interviewing for that position, and you see that you have Riot, which is going after you like a wounded hyena or something, or a wounded gazelle, does that make you think about taking the position potentially where you might only be in that position for a couple months, and if Riot is successful at buying out Bitfarms? So I don't know. Man, it's a lot of what ifs in there. Let's see here. Subs getting more viewers and subs. We're starting to kick off with the miners. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. How would you rate Marathon's May performance? Grade A, B, C, D, or F? Or yeah, it should be F, I believe. Their performance for the month, they improved their hash rate, which is great to see. So I would give them, like a B minus to a C plus, something like that. Right? Still not close to 100%, but it has improved. That's kind of the way I would look at it that way. Let's see. Hey Seb, is it worth selling BKCH and going into individual miners at this point in the run? I'm about 50% BKCH and 50% individual miners at the moment. BKCH, is that an ETF? I'm trying to think. Obviously, it's not Bitfarms or Bitcoin itself. I think the miners, let me see here. I think it is, let me take a look. BKCH is at $48.61 right now. That is an ETF for the miners right now. I think that one, how has that one done so far this year? Let me take a look here really quick. Year to date is basically flat, more or less, year to date. I also own WGMI for my profit sharing plan. Gosh, I think the miners will outperform the ETFs. The ETFs are weighted with other miners in there as well. Some of them might not perform as well. But at least currently we're seeing that, yeah, I think the individual miners are a better play. That's just my take on it, at least right now. Question: what is your take on Carisdale? Mike, what's his name? Alfred? Gosh, no. I'm butchering his last name. I can't remember his last name right now. Mike Alfred, I think. Posted that the CEO there of the fund there, he got arrested for was it potentially drunk driving and narcotics as well back in 2016. It's been a long time. Has the guy probably gotten wiser since then? Possibly. But they made their fortune on short selling other companies as well. These were, I believe, Chinese companies at that time. So I don't know a lot about them, just other than what I've just read today on them. But the report, like I said, I think is just a hit piece on not only Riot, but also on the industry itself. Let's see. Bitfarms is going up slowly and nicely. The only concern is Riot will dump all their shares, and if and when they decide their takeover will fail. Well, what if they just continue to hold on to their shares, right? What if they also believe that maybe Bitfarms can do a 5 to 10x from where it is right now, right? Their initial investment could be worth 5 to 10x in the company in the long run. So that's the way I'm seeing that. Maybe Jason's playing it, right? Jason's playing kind of both ways. If I invest in the company that does well, things get better, but they could also invest in their own company and possibly do maybe even better if they do the right things. It's tough. Imagine having such little faith in your own company that you put a weak attempt at buying a far better company, give up, right? Well, far better company in operation side of things, right? They've struggled, Riot has struggled over the last 16 months or so with their operations. So in that regard, yes. But as far as cash flow, or not even cash flow, but just balance sheet and all that other stuff, the Riot is in a better position right now, at least, than Bitfarms is. But Bitfarms has had a lot of FUD too. Let's see, Raul Paul has a great everything code theory. It shows that BTC following the 2016-2017 model, current trend shows 400,000 top in June 2025. What's your thoughts? Say we do hit 150,000 by December and on track. Wow, that would be fantastic. I mean, if we all knew that was going to happen at sometime in 2025, we would hit 400,000. I think everybody would be holding on for their dear lives at that point, and holding on to the miners as long as they can. I don't know. My original price target for Bitcoin was 180,000 sometime in this cycle. I don't know exactly when, but that was before the spot Bitcoin ETFs, all the adoption that we're seeing right now, pension funds getting into it. So it's not out of the question. It just depends on how much more adoption we get and everything else that could possibly drive it up. Who knows, right? I'd rather be a little bit more conservative on that. If I'm up 7 figures on my investments here, something like that, and I may just slowly wind down those positions as time goes on. Even if Bitcoin goes up to 400,000, I may not be able to pick the top, right? So that's kind of the plan. Let's see here. Short reports are bullish in my opinion. Buying opportunities, not always, right? Look at what happened to Hut 8. Hut 8 had a rough ride with it, with the short report there. Their stock is just now slowly recovering. Let's see here. Bit Digital is the play now. I mean, they're undervalued from where they should be, but there might be some reasons for it. Lack of a lot of growth in hash rate this year. They're also not being really valued on their AI play, right? But they also don't own any infrastructure as well, so that could be a problem there. Is it worth to buy Bitfarms at current prices, like over $2.30, or one should wait for Poison Pill? At the moment, I have highest position in Bitfarms. Yeah, I mean, Bitfarms for me is the second largest position that I have right now, and it is getting, IREN's getting close to possibly overtaking that. But I still think that they are way undervalued from where they should be, and depending on the Poison Pill, how much they actually dilute on that side of things, I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs, a lot of unknowns, unfortunately, on this, and that might be keeping the stock down a little bit because of it. Who knows? Let's see here. If Riot really wanted Bitfarms, why didn't they buy way more while the price is low? Yeah, good question there, right? Why not beat around the bush? Why not just go in hard on it and get the percentage you really want and make changes on the board and get it to your liking? I don't know. Good question, though. How cool would it be if CleanSpark buys Bitfarms? Yeah, I mean, they would have to pay a premium on it, and they have their own issues right now. They got to buy infrastructure and things like that as well to get to their targets of 32 exahash and 50 exahash, right? And CleanSpark doesn't have a history of buying or overpaying on infrastructure and things like that. So it'd be cool, but I don't think they're going to do it. Which of the miners would the world's most responsible grandma purchase? Most responsible grandma would purchase. I don't think grandmas would purchase at any Bitcoin miners. They're too volatile. I think they would probably go with the spot Bitcoin ETFs potentially. But yeah, I don't know. At this current time frame, they would probably buy Mara, right? They would search up on Google Bitcoin miners, public Bitcoin miners, something like that. Mara pops in as number one, and that's probably what they would buy. Ryan says Hive. Hive is also way undervalued, but not a lot of growth. Great management there. I could say great management. Some things I disagree with Hank there, but overall, operations are great. Efficiencies are great. Balance sheets is great, but not a lot of growth. Let's see. We need institutions to step up and buy more Bitfarms. The number of institutions have been increasing, but the percentage of shares owned is still 21 to 22%. They could push the price to ward off Riot takeover. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility there. If that happens, that would be great. What if Bitfarms bought CleanSpark? Bitfarms does not have the capital right now to do that, unless it was like an all share-based play, and CleanSpark would not go for it either. So Riot buying Bitfarms and assuming they are not selling it, this will eventually cause the Bitfarms price to increase. Seems there are many people selling to keep the price down, or is it Bitfarms selling? That's I don't know. As far as their ATM, they could be selling a little bit here currently. Riot could also be buying over the counter potentially shares that way, so it doesn't impact the price that much. That could be also part of it. Let's see here. At this point, I just need Riot to go up to $12.34. That's my average, and I'm selling and buying something else like Ethereum or CleanSpark. Okay. Let's see here. Daniel from Iron stated today that he thinks achieving 30x this year won't be difficult. Bullish. Yeah, I saw that interview with McNally Money and Anthony. Great interview there with Dan. Definitely love what Iron is doing. Or some people like to call it Irene. Let's see, question, correct me if I'm wrong. Is not Cores the second best miner in terms of BTC mined? Where do they rank in market cap? Market cap, they rank a little bit better now. They're at 1.2 billion currently, so they are kind of in the same spot as, I would have to look. But I think Cipher's right around there, I believe. Who else is in that range now also? Above them would probably be Riot, CleanSpark, and Marathon. I don't know who else is kind of in that 1.2, 1.3 billion range. Iron, I think, is in there as well right now. Will Riot stock ever go up? It will go up in time, but it's going to take, obviously, Bitcoin going up as well. Do you have any thoughts on NVIDIA and its upcoming split? Yeah, I don't know why they're doing a split. I think they should just leave the stock alone. I mean, it makes it more appealing to investors that way, right? Because the price goes down. But, look at Berkshire Hathaway stock. They've never done a split, and it's trading at what, like $600 some odd thousand now, whatever it is, and they're still trading. So it all depends. Bitfarms is badly managed, incompetent persons. There's troubles with the board, yes. As far as badly managed, they made some mistakes in 2021 and 2022. Other companies have made mistakes as well. They corrected those mistakes, but they have turned the ship around, I believe, quite nicely and got on a path to pay off the debt and provide a growth plan going forward with 21 exahash by the end of this year. So that's the way I kind of look at it right now. I'm looking to invest $5,000 tomorrow. Which miner would you suggest? I already hold CleanSpark, Bitfarms, and Iron. Get into Cores possibly. Cores, they have huge potential going forward as well. So if you already own those three, I would say possibly Cores. see. I got some NVIDIA at 1080, had some below 200, and flipped from 600 to 915. So 1080 is as low as I could re-enter. I'll buy more anywhere near 100 on a post-split pullback. Yeah, I mean, I think today NVIDIA also came in at now the second most valued company. I don't know who the first one is. They overtook Apple. So who's the first one? Is it Microsoft? No, that's the first one. Microsoft or Google? I can't remember which one. Do you mind to share how does AI help to benefit miners and overall? If it's beneficial, why other big miners like CleanSpark, Marathon not moving in AI as yet? Okay, there's a couple ways to look at AI here. You have AI that you can have customers for short-term contracts, right, 3 to 6 months, something like that. Those are a little bit more profitable. But then you also have longer-term contracts, which we've seen with Bit Digital, and we've seen it also with Core now. Right, so those give you a little bit different dynamics when it comes to debt financing and things like that. You get better rates, I guess you could say, at that point. But the big question is also who's paying for the machines, right? The machines are expensive as heck. The H100s are between like $30,000 and $40,000 or something like that. And then if you need to change out the infrastructure as well to like a tier 3, tier 4 data center, that costs money. So who's going to front that cost as well? And the thing that Core got with CoreWeave is CoreWeave is giving them $300 million to update their facilities, and they're going to be putting in their own machines in there, right? It's basically hosting. It's not that they're buying the machines and everything else, which is going to cost billions of dollars to do that. So you have Core doing all that, and CoreWeave doing that, and Core is going to be benefiting on the hosting side of things, okay? So it is possible to make money on it, but you have to look at it kind of, what do you have to spend on it? Who's the customer that you're getting in there? If you get a great customer, then it does make sense. Let's see. Correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me, but if Cipher's update today was an increased rate of growth for 2024 from their previous report in Q1, correct? This is bullish news to me. Thanks. Yeah, it is bullish news. I think it's good that they are increasing their growth here. I would have liked to have seen more growth, but their Black Pearl facility is not going to be done in time, I believe. That's why they're going into 2025 to get to, what did they say, 35 exahash, 38 exahash, I can't remember now. But yeah, it is good news. Let's see. Ryan states, neither Texas or Paraguay are known for their electricity grid stability. There was a major blackout in Sao Paulo due to problems at the dam several years back, and Texas winters have been crazy. Well, Texas winters and also the summers are crazy. Yeah. I mean, anywhere you go, unless you're like running on nuclear power or something like that, but even then you could have powerful storms go through and rip lines down and things like that, where you might be without power for a couple of days. So, let's see. Bit Digital CEO referring to HPC contract, client demanded doubling fleet size, more details to come. Stay tuned. What do you make of this? Well, they stated that a couple months back even, that they're working with the client to possibly double that, but we haven't seen anything yet. They kept saying, stay tuned, but it's going to be taking them from 50 million to 100 million a year, potentially. But we'll have to see, obviously, when that happens. Let's see. Yeah, I heard that too today. Second largest day of ETF inflows since inception. It's great news there. Did Bitfarms hit their target last month? No. They have 9.5 installed exahash. 7 point something exahash operating. So the other 2 exahash is just waiting for energization, which is stated that the government-run power utility there, Andy, has to check, I guess, the transformers, the connections, things like that, do some testing. When that's done, it should be happening in the coming weeks. In June, they'll get that to 9.5. And then they're working on the other sites to get to 12 exahash as well. So they missed it by a little bit here, it seems like. Which I said they might. And I said that's okay, as long as they get close to it. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Hive? I've talked about Hive many times. I've owned Hive from 2017 through last year when I sold it. The reason I sold it was not a lot of growth happening into this year. Other than that, operations are great. Their management is pretty good. Their balance sheet is really good, healthy. They've been through these cycles before, so they know what's going on here. I just wish they would have better growth going into this year compared to what they actually have right now. That's the only thing there. Let's see. If you own Bitfarms, you need to vote your shares. I noticed there are very little voting the last round. Easy for Riot to take command. Yeah, and that's something I'm going to be possibly pushing here for as well. And thank you for reminding that. Yeah, if you own Bitfarms, you got to voice your opinion on things that are happening within the company when they have the proxy votes and all that stuff. Any guess of a price target of cores when warrants are paid and debt is gone with 150,000 Bitcoin price? Oh, geez, at that point, we're probably looking closer to like $20, if not a little higher than that. Kind of tough to say right now, but somewhere around there. I think right now they should be between like $9 and like $18 as it is, even with the dilution. So if those warrants dilute, that's kind of where I'm looking at right now. Plus, that's not even taking into account well, a lot of the revenue for the AI stuff is not going to happen until, when is that happening? 2025, right? They need to build out the infrastructure or remodel the infrastructure that they have right now with the 200 million that CoreWeave is going to be giving them. Question: how hard is it to find a miner CEO? Harder than we thought, I guess. So, yeah, I know. You want to find a really good person in there that's kind of tech savvy and also has like financial background and things like that. So, depending how picky the board is on the CEO, it might take a while. Maybe that's a good thing. Any rumors why the CEO got fired? No, I haven't heard anything there. It's kind of hushed right now. What do you think what do you think are the top reasons why CleanSpark has been lagging behind comparing to the other miners since the halving event? CleanSpark has outperformed all the miners here so far. It's obviously been lagging a little bit right now, and the reason for that is I think people are just waiting for information on the sites. Right, they need to purchase more sites in order to get to 32 exahash this year. When they do report that, they have a clear pathway getting to it. I think at that point, maybe the stock will take off. Also, we're seeing like Iron stating that they're upping their timeline to get to 20 exahash this year and then getting to 30 exahash as well this year. That kind of took some of the thunder away from CleanSpark as well, because rightfully so, right? Iron's growing quite nicely here. So there's that. The halving event, obviously, as well. What else? I think that's basically it. I think the big thing is having the infrastructure there. They need to get that taken care of. Let's see here. MicroStrategy is the number one company by market cap. Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft. Yeah. I was thinking MicroStrategy by Microsoft. Yeah. Okay. So NVIDIA is going to be knocking on Microsoft's door probably pretty soon. Who is the most undervalued with current prices between Bitfarms, Cores, and Iron? Bitfarms right now. Based on those two guys, or three guys there, Bitfarms is the most undervalued right now. Yes, AI helps miners in bear market as well, right? You have continued, or you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Steady revenue throughout the months and years going forward. You don't have to worry about the highs and lows in Bitcoin. Hey Sebastian, sorry, I meant how we can buy when BTC mining stocks are soaring. I want to convert some BTC ETF to miners. I'd like to add some Iron and Cores. How can you buy? Well, BTC ETFs, if you want to convert them, I mean, you can do that and you can buy the miners now, but dollar cost average in a little bit. And right now we could be entering into a nice run up in Bitcoin price. I don't know. But the way things are setting up right now, at least, it looks possible. I'm not going to say for sure that's going to happen, but we still could have a little bit of pullback. But mainly just dollar cost averaging as best as you can into those things. It's not going to be easy if we're in a raging bull run. Would Riot operations even matter if they own Bitfarms? They go up regardless. They would be the biggest miner. Yes, they would be the biggest miner at that point. If they got Bitfarms, operations would still matter because you're still, well, they would have good operations at the sites that are owned by Bitfarms or operated by Bitfarms at that point. And then what would their operations be like in Rockdale and Corsicana? Right, so you're still going to have potentially issues there, but it's going to be less so than they are right now. Question: what do you think are the top reasons why CleanSpark has been lagging behind comparing to other miners? Since I already covered that one. So like I said, questions are going to be answered to. I'm trying to get to them as fast as I can here. Core or Iron? Both. I like them both around. They're doing really good. Non-BTC related, check PPD stock. Looks like a future giant. Don't know what that one is. Let's see. Is Bitfarms any good? Operational wise, they're great. Great growth going forward. The only issues right now are no CEO and a possibly dysfunctional board at this moment. We can't really tell what's going on in there though. Let's see here. Should I sell my Riot stock over this? No. For Riot, it's kind of a win-win situation. If they get to buy Bitfarms out, that's a win. If they don't and they just hold on to the stocks and the shares and the stock goes up 5 to 10x, they win on that side as well. Any thoughts on DMG? I saw DMG reported, I think, their production update here. I'll have to take a look at it. They're one of the smaller ones. Not a lot of growth there. That doesn't mean that they won't do well in this bull run, like they should do, as well as other companies that are not growing that much. But Bitcoin going up in price will lift all boats in that time frame. Let's see. I'm almost tempted to sell my Bitfarms position and put it into iron. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, with everything that's going on around Bitfarms right now, I don't blame you guys for wanting to do that. I'm still hopeful that somehow Bitfarms maintains their independence. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm still hopeful on it. Maybe there will come a time where I'll finally realize maybe that's not the case. I don't know. Next question. Would you invest in Hive here? I think Hive is undervalued, but there's reasons for it. The only reason for it is not a lot of growth this year. That's the only thing there. Great operations, great balance sheet. Everything's great there. Just not a lot of growth. That's the only thing. Has CleanSpark ever failed on meeting their guidance? Was it just once? I trust them to meet or come awfully close to meeting their goals this year and next year. Their target for 2023 originally was like 22 exahash, I think. And then they came out, this was at like the beginning of 2023, I think. Right? Was it 2023? Yeah, 2023. Then they came back saying that the partner that they were going to be working with, I think was Lancium at that point, stated to them that they're not going to be able to build out their infrastructure to meet the demand that CleanSpark was going to need, right? So that's when CleanSpark pivoted to then buying all of their own infrastructure and building out that way. So they reduced that to 16 exahash by the end of 2023. They got to 10 exahash, right? And then they were behind about a month and a half or so getting to 16 exahash because they had to wait for the power company to connect all the megawatts that were needed there, and they had a problem with the transformer as well, which they had to change out. So that was the time they were before. Other than that, in 2022, they said they were getting 6 exahash. They actually ended up getting to, I think it was 6.6 exahash. So they actually outperformed there. So nobody's perfect here in this space. But as far as targets and meeting them, CleanSpark is like one of the top ones there. Iron's really good at that as well. So far, we're seeing that Bitfarms is doing pretty good on that so far. We'll have to see going forward. And so have other miners, TerraWolf, Cipher as well. Where do you believe Bitfarms should be right now? A stock price? It should be like around $6 right now, $5 to $6, I believe. Question, thank you for taking our questions. Thank you for sharing your analysis with us. Oh, yeah, you're very welcome. I appreciate you guys coming in here. See. Love your show, Sebastian. Thank you for all you do. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in. Let's see. I sold 70% of iron between $8 and $9. Do you think I'm gonna see iron around $7 again to get back in? Geez, I don't know. That will depend on Bitcoin. Bitcoin continues to rally up in price. That's gonna be tough. Right? I think iron should be also valued more from where they are right now as well. So don't know if that will be the case. It could happen. We could have a wick on Bitcoin and miners come crashing down as well. So there's always a possibility of that happening, but I just don't know how high that possibility is. Do you review institutional holdings of each miner? Does that factor into your investment decisions? It does a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I do review the institutional holdings each month for all the miners. And I keep track of all that stuff going back, and then we look at the month-over-month difference and the 6 months difference to see where things are going. Sometimes the institutions are not too bright. They get into the wrong miners that we've seen in the past as well. I look more on the metrics as far as operations, uptime, efficiencies, growth, targets, and then also management competencies as well. So there's a lot of things that I look at And that's what's led me to CleanSpark, Bitfarms, Iron, and now Cores as well. What would be a reasonable market cap for Hive? Let me take a look at where Hive is right now on my sheet. So Hive right now has a market cap of 251 million. I think they should be valued, or they at $2.85. I think they should be like 2.5, 3x from where they are right now. So that would give them around 750 million to, I would say somewhere around 750 million to like 1 billion. If all things were kind of equal, more or less. But they're not, unfortunately. So that's kind of where I would see things for them. Let's see. I bet Riot gets what they want. Well, that might happen. We'll have to see. Who's more undervalued between Bit Digital, Hive, and Wolf? Gosh, they're both around like what 250 million in market cap around those guys, and they all have the same thing in common. Not a lot of growth here in 2024. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I think they're equally undervalued when you're looking at those guys. Robin, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it greatly. $20. Wow. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Coyote Log Holmes is leaving. Have a good night, everyone. Good night. Sweet dreams. I don't dream anymore. Do you guys dream anymore? As the older I've gotten, I don't dream as much as I used to when I was younger. Let's see. Why do you think we see such a discount between Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners' prices? We just got through a halving event. That's always going to have an impact on the miners going down in price. After that, once Bitcoin starts ripping up higher, we should see miners outperforming Bitcoin in general, right? Maybe not everybody, but overall, they should outperform Bitcoin. Hank, you too. Have a great night. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Sebastian, do you know if CleanSpark has fixed power agreements like Wolf and Cores do? What was the whole thing with Cores? Buyout, kind of wonder why at least Riot fixed power agreements didn't move to. Let's see. CleanSpark does not have fixed power that I'm aware of. I believe they buy through the utilities that they operate in or the municipalities that they operate in for that one, but they do get pretty good rates there. Excuse me. What was the whole thing with Core's buyout? Kind of wonder why Core's buyout. So there's some rumors potentially that CoreWeave is going to be buying out Cores for like $5.70 something cents. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that has never been substantiated or never verified, at least not yet. And none of the companies have responded to questions to it. So we don't know what's going on there. And then Riot has fixed power agreements. They have a 375 megawatt agreement, a PPA at Rockdale. I don't believe they have a fixed power agreement at Corsicana. Hey, Sebastian, what is the fair price of iron at the moment for correct valuation as per your analysis? Thanks a lot, man. Let's see here. Iron right now, based on my numbers here, for the last 3 quarters and the current quarter, I have in between $12.94 to $19.41 right now. That's kind of what I'm looking at. I think that would be kind of fair value. They're at $9.06, so I do think that they are undervalued right now. Now, given Bitcoin price going up, we could see them going up much higher than that as well. Okay. I think Farms grows up 20-30% on one day when they announce a new CEO. It could be a potential, depending on the CEO that they get. If they get a great CEO, there could definitely be a huge impact there. Let's see. By the way, is only 2% from all-time high. I see 75,000 this month. Am I wrong? Thanks, Asman. Yeah, I think this month we could get to 75, maybe like 80,000, maybe even 85,000, depending on where things go. First, we got to get past the 73,000 mark that we hit before we fell back down. Scott, appreciate it. Yeah, like the show, guys. If you could thumbs up it, that would help tremendously. Call Roaring Kitty and tell him about the miners. Yeah. He's having too much fun with GME right now. Furzin, oh my gosh, thank you so much. $50. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you. Let's see it. Which miner is the most undervalued now? I believe right now it's still possibly Bitfarms. Bitfarms has had a lot of FUD around it, rightfully so. That's kept the stock down. But based on their current growth trajectory and everything else, they're way undervalued from where they really should be. I dream of an incredible BTC bull cycle nightly. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, I think about it. I don't really dream about it. I mean, if I started dreaming and then started calling Irene or something like that, my wife might get a little suspicious. Let's see. You have to think about a dream process before sleeping and immediately after waking up. Okay. I'll have to try that. Augernaut, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Let's see. Is the puck moving toward AI HPC? Bitcoin mining guy seems to really excited about this. Yeah, he was like one of the early ones that was kind of interested in that more so. I was a little bit more cautious. I was like, let's see what BitDigital comes in at. What is that revenue there? What is the profit margins on it? I want to see some things on it, right? The other thing that kind of made me a little hesitant on it was we had all this talk about the AI space and how it's booming, how big it's going to get, all this interest in AI, all the companies are trying to get into AI, but we never saw anything real materialize other than BitDigital as far as having a great customer. Now we have Core Scientific coming in with a customer from CoreWeave. CoreWeave has been funded to like 19, well, they're valued at like 19 billion right now. But they've been funded heavily as well. So they have the capital to grow. So that's the only one that we've seen here. Other than that, it's just been little things here and there. It's nothing like this major, at least not yet. So I'm starting to turn a little bit more towards bullish on it if we continue to see these types of customers getting into the space as well, and then funding some of the growth that's going to be required for these miners to go forward. Let's see here. How many $4 a month subscription spots are there for YouTube? I think it's unlimited as far as you guys want to help support. I do provide you guys there like once a week. I try to at least provide the PDF versions of my spreadsheets there for you guys. Let's see. Murphy thinks 150,000 this bull run. My target was kind of 180. If we get to 150,000, I'd be happy with that. The miners still should do really well. That'd be basically a 2x for where Bitcoin is. At that point, miners should do at least like a 6 to 10x, but some of them will do like 5x. Others may do a little bit better. Let's see, if Riot does get what they want, doesn't that equate to a positive to current Bitfarms shareholders as they will be forced to pay a premium? FYI, I will sell all Riot stock if issued in the deal. Okay, yeah, I mean, you're going to get a premium, but it's going to be a small premium compared to what you possibly could get with Bitfarms was operating by itself. Right now, I still think that they have a potential of getting like a 5 to 10x from where they are right now. If Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, somewhere around there. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at it as a Bitfarms shareholder. Bitfarms price at the end of June with Bitcoin at 75,000. If they can get to 12 exahash, I think they should be at least north of $3 at that point, maybe like $3.50, $4, I would think. Because they would have increased their hash rate by, approximately 5 exahash in like a month and a half or so. Let's see. Have you been able to get a good handle on what Irene's AI contracts would be valued at compared to BTC mining? Core's 12-year agreement has 300 million a year, which that's pretty good compared to BTC revenue. Yeah, we don't. We have a little data on it, but not much. Iron has contracts that are short-term, 3 to 6 months. At least that's what Dan has reported recently, and that's kind of the way that they're working at it right now. But I'm sure if they got a bigger customer in there, he said that if you get a 2-year, 3-year contracts, you have favorable terms on the debt that you could possibly finance at that point in order to do some things. So we'll have to see. See, any thoughts on adding more valuation metrics on HPC side to the analysis as well? Yes, we're seeing more and more of those guys, but what kind of metrics can we look at that? Not a lot of the companies are reporting their uptime on those. We really don't have a hash rate on it. I mean, you have cycles or what is it going to be? Megahertz on the chips or whatever those are operating on. It may not be that easy, but at least we can maybe track the revenue there. If we have a contract that's for 2-3 years, we can say, okay, this is being added in each month. We can find out what the profitability is at that point as well, and then kind of track it that way. What does that actually bring into the table for the overall revenue for the company at that point? Let's see. I just sold Wolf. What should I get into next? I'm thinking Iron, but is 9 still attractive? Yeah, I think 9 is still attractive. Look into Bitfarms also and Cores, and on top of that as well. I think those are the 3 to kind of get into right now. But yeah, we'll see. 150, 180K by December. My target was 180,000 for this bull run. Might be higher than that because of these public ETFs and the adoption happening, pension funds getting into it as well. We'll have to see. I don't know if it's going to be 180,000 by December. Some are saying that we might be like 150,000 possibly, which is not too far. We're only 2x away from that right now. Which companies have the best energy mining efficiencies? Energy mining efficiencies. Would that would be BTCs per exahash energy? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Are you talking about like joules per terahash maybe at that point? At that point, you got probably like Marathon right now, Clean Spark, Iron's getting up there as well, efficiency-wise, on top of those things. Bitfarms has been improving. Bitfarms will be much better when they get 21 exahash. Cipher is going to be there, a pretty low number there as well at the end of the year. So there's still quite a few miners that are improving their efficiencies going forward. AI mining starting to sound like a magical unicorn. Yeah, it's definitely a buzzword, right? It's hype on it right now, and that is leading to CoreWeave getting huge valuation because of it. Core Scientific benefiting from it tremendously here now. Other companies as well, like Bit Digital. It's interesting time that we're living in, and we'll have to see where things progress going forward. But let's see. I think I've come up to all your guys' questions. I have one more maybe coming in here. Here we go. We could try to match them to public data center companies as well. That may encourage them to release more info on the HPC side of business. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Definitely could look at those things as well. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. And then you're very welcome here, obviously. Let's see. One last question, and we're done. What are the potential threats for Core Z? Potential threats are a buyout potentially, right? If you got, CoreWeave potentially has put in an offer, but it's unsubstantiated right now to buy them out. I've said this yesterday's live stream, I think, as well, that what if CoreWeave just puts in a $2 billion offer, all cash or something like that? That's going to be basically a premium on top of what they already reported. So who knows what's going to happen there? Would the board approve that? Does the board think that they're valued more? Right? Where does that go? So I think a buyout offer would probably be one of the pitfalls there. Other than that, I see all good things happening here for Cores. Okay. Yep. I am done with all the questions here, looks like. So, guys, thank you, and gals, thank you so much for coming in to watch this. Greatly appreciate it. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. What do we got going on tomorrow? I think we only have a couple of companies left that have to report their May production updates. And yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So tomorrow's Thursday. We'll do, tomorrow I'm joining Bryce and Anthony on their show live stream tomorrow at my time. It's going to be like 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you guys want to join there, that'd be great. On that one, we'll have, we'll be talking about some of the miners here. I think we'll be talking about Iron, Bitfarms, what's going on there. Cores as well, possibly as well. And I should be on there for like 45 minutes or something like that, I think, if all goes well. Other than that, tomorrow we'll do a live stream, hopefully around this time again. And then Friday, taking the day off. You guys are out partying anyways on Fridays. And we may have a good week to celebrate. Then on Saturday, I don't have any plans right now. I don't know if the BTC mining guy and I will do a X Space or not. We haven't discussed that yet. But we'll see what happens there. And then maybe, so Saturday or Sunday, I'll do maybe a live stream at that point. We'll talk about what happened during the week, how the miners did, and that's about it. Okay? So, again, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.